Good morning, Kuwait. Good morning, dear viewers. Welcome to our show. Coming to you live from the Ministry of Information. Of course, we come with many reports and segments and, of course, interviews. Today, we have special interviews with interesting people. I say good morning to you and, of course, to my colleague, Sarah. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Saad, and good morning to you, dear viewers, and everyone who's watching us through KTV2. Welcome to a new episode of your morning program, Good Morning Kuwait. And today, as always, as my co-host Saad said, we have various segments and special guests. So please keep watching us till the end of the episode. So, Saad, we know we have two special guests today. One of our guests is going to talk about the blood tests,
Yes.
So it's really important for us to do some regular blood tests for us, isn't it?
Of course, today we will have a special interview with Dr. Hadil Saleh. Hadil Saleh is a hematologist, which is concerned with testing the blood, testing the blood of everything. If you come with an illness, God forbid, you will test and you will see how your organ is working. So this is really important. And today in this interview, we will learn more about blood testing. But how about
about my guest actually from Italy, because I love Italian food and I love Italian country actually. We have a chef Marco. We're gonna talk about the Italian food, like his restaurant and his passion about like cooking and so on. So do you like Italian food, Saad?
Of course, my type of food, everything with carbohydrates I love.
Okay.
Of course, pasta, pizza and risotto. Risotto, it means a rice dish in Italy.
Yes.
Of course, Chef Marco is well known here in Kuwait. We see him everywhere, social media and of course in TV, Kuwait TV. So today, I think you will ask him a lot about carbohydrates, especially pizza.
Exactly, but I don't want to make feel hungry actually after the interview, because I know a lot of people, they do love, pastas and pizzas, as you mentioned. They love Italian food, and we have too many Italian restaurants here in Kuwait, too many, bakery stores as well for about the, gelatino and much more about the Italian, food and stuff. So I think it's going to be an interesting episode, Saad, with your host, with your guest as well as my guest.
Yeah, of course. If you noticed, I use the word carbohydrates. It comes from the gym world because I go to the gym. They manage to calculate how many carbs you can eat, how many fat and protein, of course. But if you notice, Italy doesn't have a obesity problem. They eat all the carbs, but they still in shape. That means if you eat in moderate quantities, you will still have a good and healthy body. Here in Kuwait, I think when we have the big dish of machbous, you have all the rice and the meat, you eat until you stop because you can't eat more, which is something really dangerous. Quantity control. You have portion, they call it portion control. You take the dish, you eat this, and how many grams you eat actually. But this is really a little bit obsessive, and we don't like that. But if you have the dish, and you manage to do it every day, I think you will benefit.
And after that, as you mentioned, Saad, after eating a big meal, let's say, it's better to do some jogging and walking outside.
Yes,
it's better not just lay down or sleep directly after eating let's say a feast after a meal, a big meal, and then sleep. Is really important to do some sport to keep in shape, to control ourselves, to maintain our health as well.
100%.
100%. So I think the weather is getting lovely for having some jogging and walking outside, isn't it?
Of course, it's getting better to go outside, but these days I think we will have a lot of rain.
Yes, so especially today.
Yes, today we will have rain. I think this weekend we'll have some rain. After that, I think we will have the outdoor activities will be good to do, especially camping.
Inshallah, that's going to be really great. So I'm about to check the weather forecast with our colleague and then we'll be right back to you.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and now we will introduce to you Kona segment with my colleague Sarah.
Thank you, Saad, for the introduction. And now with Kona News. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah sent on Tuesday a cable of the President of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, congratulating him on his country's National Day. In the cable, His Highness the Emir wished President Ruto good health and Kenya more progress and prosperity. Kuwaiti Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Oil Dr. Saad Al-Barrak said on Tuesday that the Kuwait Petroleum Corporation's, the KPC 2040 strategy program is robust and emissions about energy transition and carbon emission reduction. Addressing a ministerial debate of the 12th Arab Energy Conference In Doha, the minister said that the region's countries are serious about the issue of renewable and clean energy, boasting that Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, UAE, Jordan, and Algeria are leading this transition. He added that Middle East and North Africa countries, though rich in oil and gas resources, have boosted their renewable energy capabilities to 57% between 2022 and 2023. The 12th Arab Energy Conference, organized by the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries OAPEC in Doha over the past 2 days, recommended tapping into the carbon resources of the member state while protecting the environment. Kuwait Airways said on Tuesday it has successfully passed the International Air Transport Association AITA Operational Safety Audit IOSA program. Kuwait's national carriers said in a press release that the IOSA program certificate is one of the significant criteria for evaluating the safety of aviation industry, adding that it greatly contributes to the improving the performance of the safety and leading to cost savings. This is all the news we have for today, dear viewers. Don't go away. Let's have this little break and we'll move on. And we came back again, dear viewers. After seeing the flash, we may have a really heavy rain during this day and tomorrow. So please, dear viewers, be careful and be cautious while driving on the roads. Stay away from the crowded and put the flashlight once you have, let's say, the heavy rains and for the slippery actually, let's say, road. And don't watch your phone or text while driving for your safe and for your beloved ones.
Of course, Sarah, and dear viewers, please adhere to the cautionary message from the Ministry of Information, especially Traffic Department. God bless them, and we should take care of ourselves and our families. Now, dear viewers, facing the recent challenges of cities, growing land consumption, and climate fluctuation, the smart floating farms can help improve some of the existing paradigms which have directed us to the present situation and open new circumstances which can enhance the quality of human life and the climate.
Well, that's really interesting, Saad. The smart floating farms' goal is that they can be discovered close to the areas where food is more necessary and potentially become instruments of the automated smart floating farms run by the realization of the IT technologies. So, dear viewers, let's watch this interesting report about the floating farms and be right back to you.
The civilization thrives usually on two things: access to water and access to arable land. If you don't have food and water, then a human civilization will effectively be on survival mode all the time. At Manhat, we developed a technology that will allow us to produce water without electricity, and by extension, we do not emit CO2 and we do not produce brine. Our focus at this stage, frankly speaking, is on providing water for irrigation purposes, because the irrigation sector is the sector that consumes the most water in the world. So if we satisfy that sector of the economy and we can produce crops and food for everyone, that will be a huge win for us, and that's what we would like to achieve down the road. This is one of the prototypes that we developed. What we do is we develop these units. They are simply connected to the open water surface. We allow the water to be in communication with this cylinder here in the middle. So what happens? The sun will basically penetrate the structure and will evaporate some of the water. Eventually, when the temperature goes down at night, the water vapor inside will condense naturally. We now know that we have a clear path for us as a startup and a technology developer of how to bring this technology to customers on a larger scale. And we believe that if you provide an inexpensive way of producing water for customers, that will help alleviate the challenges when it comes to water security across the globe.
Pilots are first to arrive at the scene and begin to loosely cover the injury. Thrombin enhances the activation and aggregation of platelets. On their surfaces, the coagulation factors, also activated by thrombin, accumulate. In tandem with 5A, Factor 10A induces the so-called thrombin burst. Finally, thrombin converts fibrinogen into fibrin that then forms fibers, cross-linked through the action of factor 13. This stabilizes the developing clot. In patients suffering from hemophilia, the propagation phase of clotting is disrupted. As a result, they cannot generate thrombin in sufficient amounts to induce normal clotting. The molecule is a B-domain deleted recombinant factor 8. Its special feature? A purposely chosen polyethylene glycol polymer. This polyethylene glycol polymer, or PEG for short, is intended to prolong the circulatory half-life of the recombinant factor 8.
Welcome back, dear viewers, to your show Good Morning Kuwait, and now we will go on with our first interview segment. Hematology is the study of blood and blood disorder. Hemopathologists and hemopathologists are highly trained healthcare providers who specialize in diseases of the blood and blood components. Hematology, which is a very difficult term to say, and anemia infection, blood clotting disorder, and leukemia. To talk more about hematology, let's welcome with us Dr. Hadir Saleh. Hello and good morning.
Good morning, Saad.
It's really a lot of terms
Yeah.
in terms of medical terms. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to pronounce.
Correct.
First of all, what is hematology?
Well, hematology in Greek, if we divide the word, like hem is blood and logy is the science or the study of the
Yes.
blood. So hematology is a branch of medicine. It's either pediatric or adult. It includes everything in hematology, everything in the blood. I mean, like benign or malignant.
Yes.
Including the hemostasis and thrombosis, which is how the blood moves in our vessels and when it will clot. It means that we have also other branches of hematology disorders, like we have benign things or benign disease. It could be affecting the blood cell structure
Yes.
or the blood cell enzymes. It affects the number and the size. So whenever those issues being affected in our cells, then the hematological symptoms will appear on the person.
So now, because they are very precise medical terms, let's
Yeah.
talk about hematology and hemopathologists.
Okay.
What are the difference? What the difference between these two?
So both of them, they are underlying under the umbrella of hematology,
Yes.
okay? So if you're talking about hematologists, like I'm a hematologist,
Yes.
I'm the physician where the patient will land it first at my side.
Yes.
In which I can take the history and examine the patient, and upon to the history plus the examination,
Yes.
then we have what we call a differential diagnosis. Differential diagnosis, that means that we have many diagnoses that would came across the symptoms and the examination, and through that I would try to facilitate the investigation that needed for such a patient. Then the work for the hematopathologist will come, because the hematopathologist is a hematologist which will work at the lab. It depends. It will work
Yes.
either on the blood samples or sometimes upon to the tissue if we have anything that, including the lymph node or the bone marrow.
They both study the same thing, which is hematology. You're a hematologist. And
like-
they are hemopathologists.
Hematopathologist means with the disease, like, actually how to read the investigation. So it's mainly the lab work upon to the hematopathologist. For the hematologist, no, we are just in contact with the patients on a daily basis, either in the ward or in the outpatient in the clinic. So whenever we are planning through the clinic, then the second step of reading those lab results will be taken over by the hematopathologist.
So let's talk about testing. What is the hematology test for, and what are the most common tests? Let's say if I want to do one.
Okay, so when you said hematology test, like,
Yes.
we have a big panel for hematology tests, okay? So let's say about the most common, and I'm totally sure that all of us here in the studio, we had once in our life, like, what we call it CBC. It's the complete blood count. Complete blood count will tell us a lot about the person condition. Like, it will include the white blood cells, the hemoglobin, and the platelet. Those are the three main parameters which is important that would explain our condition. If we are talking about the white blood cells, then we are talking about our immunity.
Yes.
Whenever we have any problem with our immunity, then the white blood cells will be affected. Then we are reading the hemoglobin. The hemoglobin is the transportation for the oxygen to the cells from head to toe. If we have any problem with the hemoglobin, either production or the cell structure, then it will affect the person, in which he will present with what we call it anemia.
Yes.
The third parameter is the platelet. Platelet is the first line of defense. Whenever we get injured, then the blood vessels in our body will, construct to prevent more losing of blood, and then the second action will come from the platelet side, where it is a sticky cells. It came together and stuck to the side of the injury to prevent losing blood from that side. So if we have any symptoms like having easy bruises, like this bluish marks came in our body, or if you have unexplained epistaxis, which is the blood came from your nose.
These are the symptoms of hematology.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So if I have bruises,
without any cause, like if you hit your hand with with a table.
what color is the bruise?
The bluish. It will start with the bluish.
I always have them.
Without any cause?
Without any cause, without.
Okay, so
and I think it's common, right? Common to have it in legs, maybe.
Yeah, for those area, like the front areas where you are prone to have more trauma, it's common.
Yeah.
But let's say if you have like.
Is it dangerous?
I think it would be better to do CBC to check your platelet count. Plus, if you have a platelet count like normal, then you will move to the second step, or the hematologist will move to the second step for what we call it coagulation profile. Coagulation profile, it will tell that how is the bleeding time works in your body. Like usually we have seconds as a timer for our clotting issues.
Yes.
Okay, if you exceed those seconds,
Yes.
then that means that you have such an issue with your clotting factors. It's either can be caused by some medication, which can affect.
Yes.
It can be like something familiar, if you have any family history in your family, or sometimes it will be with elderly more. Like those above 70s, they are prone to have some abnormality in their coagulation profile. Plus minus, we have some diseases like what we call it hemophilia. Hemophilia is one of the bleeding disorders where their coagulation factors being affected because they have some protein deficiencies. Our bodies are having many cells, okay, and we have proteins. And this equation between the cells and the proteins will collaborate to keep our body in a healthy way.
This is the first time in my life to feel scared in an interview.
Oh, really?
Because I will tell you
Sorry
something
for
about.
that.
I will tell you something about the bruises.
Yeah.
We have some something like they said it's a bad eye, something
Okay,
aim,
yeah.
something like that. If you
Okay.
have it in your legs,
Okay.
it's a medical condition then. This bruises.
Yes.
It's your body is telling you something to do.
Yes.
Yes.
If you have those bluish bruises without any cause, like you didn't hit your
Yes.
leg with anything, or you don't have any trauma, or if you are not taking any medication, so I would suggest, don't be scared, just take the first step, consult your doctor, and I think we need to
Yes.
take, maybe after the interview I will take from you brief history about your condition,
Yes.
and then we can figure out whether it's indicated to do the CBC or
Yes.
not.
This is my next question actually about when to see a hematologist.
Okay.
So one of the symptoms is to see something like bruises.
Yeah.
If I don't feel anything, I'm feeling fine.
Okay.
I say I will just ignore it. What are the other things that you think they are very dangerous and serious,
Okay.
and you should see a
So
hematologist?
it varies, as I told you initially, that we have three main cells, the white blood cells, hemoglobin, and the platelet. Let's say if you have, like I'm a pediatrician, I'm a hematologist pediatrician.
Yes.
If I have like a family, they brought their child with, recently they had noticed that he became lethargic, like he was an active child, playing all the time, and even for the adults, like all of a sudden you feel lethargic, sleepy, even your concentration is dropped. Like, those would explain your hemoglobin level in some cases, okay?
Actually, these are very common things.
It's very common.
Nowadays, we only sit. We don't do any sports. We
And
don't do any activity.
What about your diet? Okay.
I
that
have a
would
lot of
explain-
cheat meals.
Okay, so,
So
that's
that's why.
why. That's why. Like, you know, our body will express what we having input.
But I don't have to see a doctor for that.
Like, as I told you, I will take from you brief history after the interview.
Yes.
So one of the symptoms, as I told you,
Yes.
like, you know, feeling lethargy. Nowadays, it's school time. The teachers or the family, they would notice that the concentration of their children being affected. So that would explain, in some cases, that we have an issue with hemoglobin. One of the major symptoms, like, you know, hair fall, like, you know, with most of the ladies. So that will be indicated like something wrong with their hemoglobin. It wouldn't be 100%, but it would be a cause to see a hematologist. The other thing, if you have unexplained fever, like, you know, you have fever, like high temperature, and by examination they didn't find any focus infection that would explain your fever, that would ask, you know, the hematologist to do the CBC to check your immunity level. The third thing, as I told you, the bruise is one of the symptoms. And if you have, like, you know, bleeding bare nose, or, you know, whenever you are brushing your teeth with a soft brush, but still you are getting blood from your gums. So those, like, simply or roughly, I try to summarize the symptoms that I can tell.
This is to the common person.
This is to the common person, and even the affected person, or those who have been into like a diet, or, you know, during Ramadan time, if they are fasting and they're not taking good supplements at the end of the day. So this would be one of the indication to see the hematologist. Plus, if you have a family history of such a disease, like, you know, some of the blood disorder will be inherited. So, like, you know, if you have a newborn baby and you have an elder child who have such a disease, and you know that this could be with the other children, so you need to investigate the newborn baby.
Now let's talk about something very important when it comes to the blood testing. There is the notorious disease, which is the cancer, leukemia. What are the diagnoses for this blood testing?
Okay, so do you know what does leukemia means?
It means the cancer of blood.
But if we try, correct. But if we try to translate the word, leuko means white, and emia means blood. So does it mean that person with blood cancer, do they have a white blood?
No, it means white cells.
Correct. So we have immaturity of the white blood cells in their body. So how do we diagnose leukemia? Leukemia, it needs more than one thing to approach the diagnosis. First of all, we need to get a history from the patient himself. Like, you know, the current history, the previous history, the past history.
So you can't find it immediately? Like you take the blood?
Like, you know, how would I? Shall I go to the casualty or the emergency room and then I will pick, you know, randomly cases? No, I need to have a history. Like most of the cases, the history will bring them to the hospital, and from that we will initiate. So by digging from the history, you can notice that things happen, you know, quickly. Like, you know, all of a sudden patient was super active, and then all of a sudden they become inactive. Like the scenarios varies between the cases. Some of them they have unexplained fever, some of them they have only bony pain, some of them they have like epistaxis or bruises or some small spots in their body. So the first step is the history. The second step is the examination. The physician should go thoroughly through the investigation to see. Sometimes we will have a gum hypertrophy, which means the gum is being enlarged. We will have some lymph node, whether in neck or the axilla or in the groin. And if we have any enlargement of the internal organs like liver or spleen. So history and examination will be step one. Step two, then we will move to what we call it CBC. CBC would tell us a lot, like, you know, if we have any defect in the white blood cells, hemoglobin, and the platelet. Sometimes those three will be affected. And some cases it will be only 2 parameters will be affected. Whenever we saw those things, so then we keep all the points together, like, you know, the history, examination, and the CBC findings, and we would ask for something we call it blood film.
How accurate is this testing? It's at 100% or maybe 99%?
Let's say it's 90%. Now we have the history, we have the examination, and then we have the blood work that tell us that there is some abnormal cells in the blood work, okay? So we will ask for a blood film. Blood film will tell us, like, you know, microscopic study to tell us how many abnormal cells will be seen on that blood film. So by that, we reach like, let's say 90% of our diagnosis. The last step will be doing the bone marrow aspiration. The bone marrow is the place where those cells are produced. So if we have a defect in
Do
the
you have
bone
to
marrow,
do them all, or you just stop when you find out that, okay, this is
no,
the...
we have to
Do
include
it all.
all the steps like the CBC, blood film, and the bone marrow, because leukemia is a long journey of treatment. So you cannot, put a diagnosis on the halfway. You need to include all the parameters.
Very
You have
specified science, and
Yeah.
God forbid any of the viewers can have the test for this. But I am
Inshallah.
lucky today to have you here, Dr.
Thank
Hadil,
you. It's my
because I have a
pleasure.
question which is very famous.
Yeah.
When it comes to blood testing,
Okay.
I go to the gym. I use all the supplement
Okay.
inside the gym
Okay.
because they are very, very unfriendly to the organs,
Okay.
kidneys and the liver.
True.
When should I test for these things, especially for these two organs, because they are very important?
Yeah. So my question, should you take those supplements?
I think they help a lot.
They help, but they are not a must. So if you know there is side effects would come after that, I would prefer to avoid the cause, okay? So initially, before starting any of those supplements, I would recommend to do what we call it a baseline examination or test, where you can assess your renal function test and your liver function test. So you will have a baseline about your normal readings. So whenever you are starting those supplements, plus minus, which I don't agree with those,
It's
then
very
you would,
important to the average viewer because they do it to enhance their workout. But this is something for us, and you at the end of last October, you were invited to a conference.
Can I go back to the previous question?
Yes, you can.
Because you asked me about leukemia, about the cure.
Of course.
So we explained about the leukemia itself.
Yes.
So what about the cure? We have many types of leukemia. We have ALL, AML, GML, CML,
Yes.
many subtypes of leukemia. Me as a pediatrician, maybe the cure for the ALL would reach 80 to 90%, which is a good sign for treating leukemia in general. I didn't continue that part of the question. This is why
It's
I just
actually
went back.
it's very important, and of course to the viewers. But let's talk about this question.
Yeah.
You attended the Middle East and North Africa conference. Tell us about your participation.
Yeah, actually that was a 3 conference in one.
Conference.
Yeah, so it was the Middle East, North Africa, MENA Society. It was HEMNET, which is under the umbrella of WFH, World Federation of Hemophilia.
Yes.
And the third one was the Hemostasis and Thrombosis Society of Gulf Region. And I have been honored to be the only Kuwaiti participant in that conference as a speaker. And I did present the challenges in GCC about hemophilia and how would we work to improve our service in GCC, not only in Kuwait,
Yes.
by collaboration with other physicians and my colleagues in Gulf region. It was really amazing conference, and I felt that I'm lucky to be part of the speakers on
And
that
we are
event.
lucky to have you, actually.
Thank you so much.
And marvelous for you. You present Kuwait, and we are proud of you and appreciate your participation in this
Thank
to
you.
present us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hadil.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Hadil Saleh, consultant hematology. And now, dear viewers, let's go to this quick break, and we will be right back. We're back, dear viewers, to the show Good Morning Kuwait. The first and the foremost sustainable development goal is to end poverty in all forms everywhere. Each and every country of the world is looking forward to eradicating poverty so that even the poor and vulnerable people also enjoy equal rights to economic resources, healthy living conditions, as well as access to basic infrastructure and technology. Moreover, there should not be any doubt that poor nations and poor people are more severely vulnerable to effects of environmental damage than the rich. To know more about the link between natural resources, environment, and people in poverty, let us watch this following report.
If you do something good, which improves the quality of life of others as well as yours, I think it has a lot of meaning. We are trying to re-establish the link between natural resources, environment, and people and poverty. It was very evident that poverty is linked very closely with degradation of natural resources. We thought that we need to reverse this process such that it generates short-term employment, medium-term income, and in long-term improve the natural resources. We have conceived a program called Great Green Wall of Gujarat. so that the erosion stops. It also absorbs carbon dioxide and also gives a lot of employment to the local people. In 1999, we started the mangrove plantation in this region. Within 15 years, we did about 6 million mangrove trees that we planted. And this is something which we think should be replicated along the coast of Gujarat. It's an ambitious project. It is going to plant about 25 million trees along the coast. It's a huge carbon sink. It will generate employment to about 1.6 million human days for the people. It will give fillip to fisheries, animal husbandry and agriculture. Economic growth has to be combined with environmental sustainability, and any development which does not take cognizance of human beings as the center of it, I think it has no meaning.
The Italian culture has a very rich tradition in food, art, music, literature. Italian food is considered one of the best food palates in the world. It is full of flavor that will surely tantalize your taste buds, which you will surely enjoy. The Italian peninsula is backed with diverse culinary cultures which produce different Italian dishes. Other nationalities from different countries have also adopted the Italian food tradition and have even become a staple food on their tables. The most important aspect that you must know about the Italian food culture is that their authentic dishes are only made with a few ingredients. However, these ingredients are carefully chosen, and if the ingredient is not the freshest, it can be they will not buy it or substitute it for better quality or not make the dish at all. Each ingredient must shine since they are only few ingredients. To know more about the Italian food, we are pleased to have with us today Chef Marco Fioro, Italian chef.
Well, after this interesting introduction, we are glad to have with us today Chef Marco Fioro. He's an Italian chef. So hello and good morning, buongiorno.
Ciao Sara, buongiorno Kuwait. A tutti gli amici, grazie per, thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor for me.
It's really happy actually to have you in our show.
Thank you very much. I didn't bring any tiramisu, any cake, but next time
later
I will.
on actually.
So you invite me again.
For sure, we're gonna invite you again. We're gonna taste all your delicious actually meals, especially Italian food. I'm actually a fan of Italian food.
Who's not?
Yes, who's not, especially Kuwaiti people. So, Chef Marco, first of all, we'd like to know more about yourself. When actually did you start cooking? You're passionate about cooking and the delicious meals, actually.
Well, I was very young and my mother, allora, look, you have to know that my father, he likes to eat at 12:05.
Okay.
So he finishes work at 12. He just needs 3 minutes on the way home, 2 minutes to wash his hands and come up.
Okay.
And here we are, 12:05, the pasta must be served on the table. So, of course, al dente. He likes it a little bit hard. So what's the fact that sometimes my mother was busy with my grandmother or whatever task. So I was the one in charge of preparing the lunch. In Italy, the lunch, it's very simple. It's just a pasta, which has to be every day different. So changing shape and changing sauce. And like a side dish, which could be a salad. That's it. Coffee, and thank you very much. This is our lunch break during the week.
Okay.
So I was performing, okay, and cooking for my father and my mother. One day spaghetti carbonara, another day spaghetti alla bolognese, penne pomodoro, tortellini, ravioli, whatever.
Okay.
So they were my first customer, and I actually got very attracted from it. I really like it. Was I was looking for the moment of cooking the lunch.
Okay.
It was the highlights of my day.
So this is the spark, actually. This is the beginning of that. You got inspired with your family, actually, and this is really lovely, simple, actually, dishes.
Yes.
It's like a simple, like coffee, like a basic pasta, and that's it.
Yes. Italian food is very simple. We started from a very poor origin.
Yes.
So it's just like very uncomplicated, very, very direct. It's just like good ingredient. This is all about.
And yet it's very delicious. Yes. That's the most important thing. So what is your most popular, let's say, special dish that you really enjoy preparing and cooking?
Well, many. I do like, of course, my favorite is forever pasta.
Yes.
So the fact I never could really choose which was my favorite pasta. That's why at my restaurant we have more than 50 type of flavor of pasta which you can choose between.
And we can see a video here, actually, Chef Marco. You are here preparing pasta, actually, isn't it?
Yes, yes. In this case, yeah, Bella, this is the pasta.
That's amazing.
So, well, my favorite are, I named them spaghetti pane, which is like a revisit of the aglio olio peperoncino.
Yes.
Which is very simple. You take a garlic clove, you fry it with some extra virgin olive oil, the best one you get. And then you chop some chili up to your taste, up to your spicy level of supportation. Then you fry it with the garlic and the olive oil, right? At that point, the oil has the infused flavor of the chili and the garlic. You remove everything. You drop up the spaghetti that you boiled before, okay? And then you jump them, okay? You stir them, fries. You hamsa, right?
Okay,
And then after that, you move it off of the fire. You add some, if you have some chicken broth, would be amazing. Of course, organically made. And Parmigiano out of the fire, and you stir it. At the end, we add on top some breadcrumbs.
Yes.
And if you want, the garlic that you remove from the earlier, you can place it on top. Some Parmigiano to garnish, and this is my favorite spaghetti.
Yummy,
I
that's
can eat
amazing.
this every day.
Wow, so thank you. You gave us all the ingredients. Now we're gonna cook it later on after the episode.
Of course.
That's amazing. So really basic and delicious. Oh, I can see some video here. You are like making some pizza as well. So despite we know, Chef Marco, there are some differences in culture and the tradition between Kuwait and Italian food. But yet we also have some delicious Kuwaiti food. So can you please first of all tell us there is some similarity or harmony between Italian and Kuwaiti food?
Yes, of course, there is. Definitely, I've been lately, last Ramadan, I've been experimenting a lot of Kuwaiti dishes, cooking and eating it as well.
Okay.
With some local Kuwaiti chef, very professional. So, and this was the resume of my experience, that yes, Italian food and Kuwaiti food is very similar. Like we do have, the only difference is, if we want to say, is that you eat the protein with the carbohydrate together. Like you serve your rice with the chicken in the same meal, while we prefer to have before our carbs, and then we, as a second course, we have our protein dish.
Yes.
So we differentiate the two, just because we like to spend more time in the table. In Kuwait, it's a bit more of a hari-hari. Like everybody likes to have all the food in the table, eat wherever it's them convenience or
like
them
variety
taste on
of
the spot,
dishes, let's say. Yes.
And then that's it. So you short the time of the meal.
Yes.
While in Italy, no, it's longer. We like to have small portions, but distributed in different courses. Said so, about the flavors, definitely are different. Change the spices. You know, in Italy we just have salt and pepper, and okay, some rosemary, some herbs, very light, sage,
garlic powder, for example.
But here in Kuwait, you have here very inspired by Indian cuisine and Indian spices. So the flavors are really intense. But other than that, it's the same prep, the same cuisine, the same view.
Same view.
Same
That's
style.
really good. So what is your favorite Kuwaiti meal? Because we have, as we said, there's really delicious, and I know it's really intense in spices, and we have that really big, huge meals we have. But I'm pretty sure you have some special meal, and also you love to cook as well.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. There is, well, I'm very traditional. One of my favorite things is the chicken majboos.
Okay.
Okay, with a particular amsa, ashu on top.
Yes,
I like
hashu, yes.
the zireshk with the toasted almonds. Or I love so much the mrbian, the shrimps rice, no?
Yes.
Oh, this is fantastic.
You love it. Okay. So
I always go mubarakia in the restaurants there too.
that's a great choice. Actually,
it.
they have delicious mrabian there.
Yes.
So actually, do you know how to cook, let's say, majboos?
Of course.
okay.
I do it regularly. At least once, twice a month. I do my Kuwaiti dinner
Yes.
where I am the one cooking it.
So do you put some like Italian touches on it?
Yes.
What is your secret of Italian touches?
I call it Kuwaitali.
Okay,
So
Kuwaitali.
instead of using, for example, rice, basmati rice, I use arborio Italian, you know? Or in some other dishes, instead of using zereshka, I use blueberry, or instead of using mixed spices, I just go with some garlic and rosemary for the chicken. But we, in all of them, I always have zafferan. Is a common
Yes.
condiment.
We love saffron as well. Actually, you are satisfied both tastes, like Italian and
Yes.
Kuwaiti people, isn't it? So let's talk about the cooking art, or the art of cooking. Do you think, in your point of view, the art of cooking is like a gift, let's say, or a hobby, or should we actually study that and have some certificate to be a chef?
Allora, look, like in everything, definitely there is a base of information.
Yes.
So I believe that the school is really important. Whether you go to a proper school or whether you inform yourself, like there are many other way online, but yeah, the school has a very important background of knowledge. But after that, I don't believe that you exit the school and you are a chef. You have to add something of yours, like you have to add your
Experience, let's say?
not experience, because experience you will do it on the time, so you will grow your experience, but some of your soul, your taste, your personality in it. Okay, and so it's you know, when you're eating even a simple pasta al pomodoro, and you have 10 chefs cooking for you a pasta pomodoro, all the pasta pomodoro are going to be different because it's based on the taste of each of us, like which tomato to choose, how much salt, how much pepper, how much spices, which type of pasta. We like spaghetti thin, we like spaghetti. Like every one of us have a completely different taste,
Exactly.
you know? In everything, whether it's food, whether it's car, clothes, hair colors, like it's really, really personal.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is it.
That's it. So let's say we can have some study and you put your soul, your experience, your personality on the dishes.
Yes,
That's
your
where
taste.
your taste as well. That's when you can be improved in your, let's say, your passion
Yes.
about that, about cooking.
And become unique.
And become unique for sure. So we have, like, let's say, modern kitchen and kitchen also, and the classic kitchen. Even here in Kuwait, when you say about, let's say, chicken machbouz, later, like in the, let's say, 100 years, it was only chicken and rice, or maybe let's just rice and hashu, and now became like they put some potatoes, they put some, let's say tomato sauce and so on, and ma'bouch, the spicy sauce. Maybe like 100 years ago, we don't have like that. So it's like modern and classic kitchen as well. So what actually you prefer, Chef Marco, the old or the present?
Definitely, I like the modern way, especially, I believe in Italy, ingredient didn't change when it comes about Italian food. The ingredient didn't change much.
Yes.
But what it changed is the presentation. And we every year we get more sophisticated in the presentation and the way the chemic behind the cooking.
Yes, they say the eyes eats before the, let's say, the mouth. So that's why the presentation, I can see some modern, let's say, they put some like a sauce, a slash of sauce here, and like a cherry tomato there. It's kind of really interesting and make you feel encouraged to eat the whole dish. So, like in your opinion, Chef Marco, how can all the taste with regard of the food be satisfied?
No, it's impossible. You will never satisfy everybody.
Okay.
It's not, even French fries, not everyone likes French fries. Even Nutella, there is someone that doesn't like Nutella.
Yes.
So, like, it's really impossible to have some dishes that will make all the world happy.
All the world happy.
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure many people love Italian food.
Yes, of course.
Of course, we love
But
pasta.
not everyone.
But not everyone, but most of the people, I think 90% of people, they love pastas.
But I've been hearing someone telling me, I don't like Italian food. I've been hearing it. Like, it's not new to me.
Yes, exactly. But yet, I do love Italian food. And actually, we love the interview with you, Chef Marco. It was really lovely. And thank you for being here. Gracias.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Big thanks and appreciation to our dear guest, Chef Marco Fiorot. He's an Italian chef. Don't go away, dear viewers. Let's have this little break and then we'll move on.
We're back, dear viewers, to your show Good Morning Kuwait. Of course, we have many we did give you a lot of reports and segments and interviews. What an interesting interview with your guest, Marco, Chef Marco.
Chef Marco, do you love Italian food?
I adore Italian food.
You adore.
Of course, every week, at least twice I eat either pizza or pasta. We have it in pasta. We have it at home, but pizza we order it every week.
Every week. It's amazing. We do love
Stable.
Italian food. And thank Chef Marco. Actually, he gave us some of one of his secret ingredients. I'm going to try to cook it and prepare it later on. That's amazing. And about your dear guests, what's amazing?
Not to forget Dr. Hadil Saleh. We talked about hematologist, which is to testing your blood.
Yes.
Something really medical terms we talked about, but it's very important.
It's very
We're glad
important.
to have her in Good Morning Kuwait.
So we spoke about medicine and we spoke about the art of cooking. It was really an interesting episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. See you for next time and have a lovely day.
Take care, dear viewers, and see you tomorrow.